So just to talk about Indian dairy industry, and we have seen, particularly in this year so far, financial year, it has done well compared to last year. So the industry has been growing in double digits. If I talk about dairy industry right now, because we had a lower growth base the previous year, so clearly the growth should be good, and so far it has been as per expectations only. In fact, if you look at the leading dairy companies' results for the 9 months, they have been growing at more than 10% for the first 9 months. The result has been pretty good for most of them. And I assume that's a situation for many of the other industry players, whether small also. And what I just mentioned, this is despite the fact that we haven't seen consumer price increase so far. If I look at first half of the financial year, there was not much of price increase. There was some COVID disruptions also. The price increase we have seen only in Q3 and maybe expected in current quarter. There have been discussions with some companies who are thinking of increasing the price. So clearly, this is a volume and I will say demand increase coming in over last year, not because of price, but because of clear demand improvement. So as I mentioned, COVID-related disruptions have been managed quite well in this year. And particularly if I look at dairy industry compared to many other sectors, the management and effectiveness in terms of dealing with COVID disruptions have been quite good since the start, I will say. B2C demand has been very good right from COVID times, start of COVID in early 2020. We have seen good B2C uplift. Only issue has been on the B2B side, which I look at the first half of the current financial year, there were some issues because of COVID disruptions. B2B, like HoReCa segment was impacted. The hotels and even restaurants were not operating at full capacity. So that was the impact. However, in the second half, particularly going from Q3 and moving into Q4, we have seen a significant improvement in recovery in B2B demand also. So clearly, we see overall demand going good for the year. And hopefully, I think this will carry on the momentum in the next year, in the year 2022-23 also. Consumption demand across all product categories we have seen, and it has been strong, whether it's liquid milk or basic products or even value-added dairy products. Within B2C channel, I think the main the platform we have seen is B2C, direct-to-consumer digital platform, which has been talk of the town. Then if you look at any other product segment within food and agri, clearly digital platform has taken a good lead in that side. So dairy actually also has got good traction through this platform in reaching to consumers directly, getting marketed the products through these platforms. Many of the companies actually are doing it on their own. In fact, ITC has also been doing that, and a lot of visibility is there on those kind of platforms. However, the key challenge has been on increasing input cost. So whether it's feed, fuel, labor, packaging, and associated costs like transportation, logistics, I think this has been a major challenge in terms of how to manage the supply chain in terms of looking at increasing input prices. So when we talk about revenue growth, yes, it is good. However, margins contraction is expected this year. So looking at the industry results, the margins have been lower compared to last year in the 9 months. And I expect for the full financial year on the dairy companies, I will see lower margins compared to FY21. So that's the story right now. And that's where we look at how leading into this current topic of which is impact of inflation in Indian dairy. So whether it's about stakeholders like milk processors managing the supply chain in terms of looking at raw milk availability and also ingredients for some of the companies which are using the ingredient like SMP or even the ingredient users, bakery and other associated companies or industries, or it's about the farmers, which whether they are getting a good equitable proportion of increase in prices. So we have seen increase in prices in the commodity side. Also, if you look at the GDT auction prices, clearly globally also this is taking a huge improvement right now. So whether it's an equitable proportion in terms of looking at how each of the stakeholders are getting the fair share of price increase. And finally, the consumers, whether they are actually getting a pinch of that or not. And I think the key point coming out, what I understand so far is that inflation will remain in the sector. And it's more about how you can manage this imbalance, CPI, WPI, in fact, at different levels, the price parity or imbalance coming in. and how you can protect the interest of all the stakeholders so that everyone will be happy. So that's not always the case in this kind of market, but hopefully I think more and more demand will be coming in, and that will push opportunities, make more opportunity in the Indian dairy sector and the feed sector going forward. And the point that we talked about, the different trigger points which will be helpful, is what technology, what we talked about, reaching out to farmers, consumers, of course. And right now, the story is about how to reach farmers directly in terms of engagement through access to inputs, or access to market produce, or access to finance, access to knowledge. So all these factors will play a major role in how you can provide a more stable, efficient supply chain structure, which can benefit both the dairy industry and the feed industry.